Islam is a blessing, but we just don't know that. So let us not whine about these things and complain about them. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about those who've received calamities and whine about it, He replied this: أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ وَلَمَّا يَأْتِ مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ مَسَّتْهُمُ الْبَأْسَاءُ وَالضَّرَّاءُ وَزُلْزِلُوا حَتَّى يَقُولَ الرَّسُولُ وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ مَتَى نَصْرُ اللَّهِ أَلَا إِنَّ نَصْرَ اللَّهِ قَرِيبٌ. Did man assume that they will enter paradise so quickly and easily like that? And when we bring them the stories of the people before them, they went through trials and calamities, a lot of harm came to them, a lot of masathum al-ba'sa, like hardship. Really, they felt it. It clothed them. And misfortune. وَزُلْزِلُوا. The earth was shaken underneath their feet until their messengers and their people used to say, when is Allah's victory going to come? Allah said, behold, just be patient. The victory of Allah is coming soon for you. Don't worry. So this is why Khubayb radiallahu anhu came to the Prophet ﷺ once and he uncovered his shirt after trying to go and give da'wah to a people. And he found burns of holes. Burns and which made holes in his back. He said, Ya Rasulullah, crying and wailing. I went there to give them da'wah and they grabbed me. And they took my shirt off and they heated rocks on the fire and dragged my back on the rocks until it developed into these holes in my back. This is extreme. The Prophet ﷺ stood up and he was kneeling down on the Kaaba and he stood up, sat up straight and he said, إِنَّكُمْ قَوْمٌ تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. You are a people who are hastening for Allah's victory. Be patient. Allah is training us. There will be a time. There were people before you. One of them will be brought in front of the people and they will bring the chainsaw and saw him in half from top to bottom just for them to leave. This is their call and they would not leave it. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu once entered into the house of the Prophet ﷺ for the first time. And as he sat down, he had a smile on his face when suddenly he began to cry. Yabki. The Prophet ﷺ looked at him and said, Ma bika ya Umar? Radiyallahu anhu. He said, Ya Rasulullah. He had looked around his house, you see, and he saw that the Prophet ﷺ's house was extremely simple. His mat was made of straw. And he could see the marks on the Prophet ﷺ's body. His pillow was stuffed with coarse leaves. And he could see the effects on his cheek, his blessed cheek, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He looked at the corner and he found some barley which was not attended to, still in its mother stem. He looked at his lamp, his lantern, and he found that there was no fuel in it to light it up for some light and heat. He said, Ya Rasulullah, the emperors of Kisra and Qaisar, of Persia and Rome, they are reclining on silk and eating from the most exquisite meals. Everything they want is there for them and wearing from the most expensive clothing. وَأَنْتَ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. You, O Messenger of God, the best of all human beings. فِي هَذَا. Like this. The Prophet ﷺ stood up and he smiled. To teach us a lesson, not to wail and whine. He said to him, Ya Umar, ألا يرضيك أن لهم الدنيا ولنا الآخرة. Does it not please you, Ya Umar, that all they will get in the end is this temporary life, and then they'll chuck it all behind them. They won't take any of it with them. And we have the hereafter. Obviously, when he's saying to Umar radiallahu anhu the hereafter, Umar radiallahu anhu understands what this world means and what the hereafter means. It's an everlasting bliss that never, ever runs out. You'd be crazy if I said to you, if someone said to you, work and work all your life and struggle for 50 years so that you can receive 1 minute of pleasure. Would you be sane if you were to go through hardship and plowing for 50 years to receive 1 minute of pleasure? Would anybody do that? No, no one would do that. So we plow and struggle for the 60 or 70 years of our life, which in the end is only like a day or an hour. وَيَذَرُونَ وَرَاءَهُمْ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and they leave behind them an enormous day, which is everlasting in the hereafter. So Umar ibn al-Khattab replied by saying, he wiped his tears and he said, Bala, Bala ya Rasulallah. Oh yes ya Rasulallah, this is exactly what we want. The companions of the Prophet ﷺ, they would always look after for their neighbor and those who were deprived before they fed themselves. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Umar radiallahu anhu, all of them. What do you think they used to eat? Olives, olive oil. They'd leave the meat for the people and they would not eat until they made sure that the people in their flock had eaten already, before they would touch it. They didn't whine. The Prophet ﷺ, when he came into the house, when he used to come to the house and not find food ready or food available, he would say, Ya Aisha, is there no food today? She would say, Wallahi ya Rasul, we've gone through rough times. The Prophet ﷺ did not wail and whine and say, why? What did I marry you for? He said, إِذَنْ فَأَنَا صَائِمٌ. Therefore I'm fasting today. Khalas, I'm fasting.